can tell you in the weeks leading up to this hearing up in Lansing, here at City Hall, a lot of the discussion centered on how this was a high-stakes hearing, but also questions whether this process was too restrictive, both in content and in the time. Only 1 hour for this hearing up in Lansing, and because of that, there was some drama.
I did want to say a couple of words,
well,
if I may.
Your 20 minutes is over, so you may want to do that on
We did
your
have
budget.
time.
It turned out Detroit officials had minutes left and summarized their case. Let us keep working.
A deal's a deal. I think in your neighborhood, you probably heard the same thing. We have a deal on the table.
That consent agreement between the state and Detroit averted a takeover last year. State officials made the case today that city council sued to block it and then did not start implementing milestones in the agreement until last fall.
The review team's conclusion was that the city simply didn't abide by it.
City council also came and provided reams of written documentation to make their case.
I feel pretty optimistic. I really do. I feel like the governor's a reasonable person.
Michigan State University professor has been watching this biggest case play out and has advised previous city officials and other takeovers. He predicts a takeover for Detroit.
The kind of structural changes needed are going to require very tough tools that an emergency manager or maybe other things even more extreme might be necessary.
And outside the state office building, about 24 protesters showed up from Detroit. They vow to stop the takeover at the doors of Detroit's City Hall.
There will be a human chain, there will be thousands, there will be demonstration after demonstration.
Now, you heard that Michigan State expert talk about even more extreme measures than an emergency financial manager. That next step could be bankruptcy for Michigan's largest city. We're going to explore that. Is that far down the road in this process? We'll have that next hour at 6. Jeff, Joanne?
I was going to ask you, Jim, any time frame to name that EM come out of this meeting today? When's that going to happen?
We're going to get a written report from the hearing officer, who is a deputy state treasurer. She will make that report to the governor. The governor said in town here last week he will only need a couple of days, so we could know by the end of the week.
Okay, Jim, thank you very much. Well,